Hello, and welcome to Cosmic Sleep Stories. If you've been looking for something calm, curious, and gentle to fall asleep to, you've just arrived in the right corner of the internet. Tonight we're going to wander, very slowly, through the long story of human evolution. Not like a lecture, and not like an exam, but like a quiet nighttime walk through deep time. Made for tired minds that still love to wonder. This story is here to give your thoughts something soft to hold, so they can stop chasing today's worries and drift toward rest. We'll move from small, nervous mammals to tree-living primates, to upright walkers, to firekeepers, artists, and city builders. It's a tale written in footprints, in bones and teeth, and in the silent code of DNA, stretching back millions of years. And tonight it's told slowly, just for you. If you enjoy peaceful science stories like this one, the kind that help you unwind or fall asleep, you're always welcome to like the video and subscribe to Cosmic Sleep Stories. It helps others sleepy, curious people find their way here too. And I'd love to know where you're listening from. Whether you're in New York or Nairobi, Lisbon or Lima, curled up on a sofa or lying in a tiny student room, you belong here. So for now, let's get you comfortable. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw unclench. If you like, you can put one hand on your chest and feel the rise and fall of your breathing. In and out. Slow and easy. When you're ready, we'll step out together into the deep past. Picture the Earth about 66 million years ago. It's the late Cretaceous. The world is warm. Seas are high. Huge reptiles dominate the continents. Some thunder on heavy feet through forests. Others glide through the air on vast wings. In the oceans, giant predators cruise the depths. Mammals are here too, but they are small and easily overlooked. Like whispers in a room full of loud voices. Mostly active at night, they creep through the undergrowth, stealing seeds, insects, maybe a bit of meat, doing their best to stay out of the way. And then, on a day that must have started like any other, everything changes. A mountain-sized rock from space enters the atmosphere over what is now the Yucatan Peninsula. In seconds, it delivers more energy than billions of nuclear bombs. The sky flashes. Shockwaves race around the planet. Fires, tsunamis. A choking darkness that lasts for months. Then years. When the dust finally settles, 3/4 of all species are gone. The great non-bird dinosaurs vanish from the land. The age that belonged to them is over. What follows is quieter, cooler, emptier. And in that open ecological space, the little mammals that once hid in the shadows begin to spread out and try new ways of living. Forests grow, branching across continents. And with the forests come new possibilities. Some of those small mammals move into the trees. There, among branches and leaves, a new kind of life begins to take shape. These early tree dwellers are the ancestors of primates. They're not yet monkeys, not yet apes, but they're on the way. Hands and feet become better at gripping branches. Eyes move to the front of the face, so they can judge distance when leaping from limb to limb. vision becomes more important than smell. Depth, color, subtle movement. All of this starts to matter. These adjustments seem simple, almost modest, but they change everything. To move safely in a three-dimensional maze of branches, you need good coordination. To live in groups among those branches, you need awareness of others. Who is near? Who is grooming whom? Who is a friend? Who might get aggressive? Who remembers the best fruit tree? Slowly, brains begin to grow, especially the parts that handle sight, movement, and social life. Already, tens of millions of years before humans arrive, evolution is quietly investing in thinking. As much as in muscle, fossils from this time show us small, squirrel-sized creatures with flexible joints and big eye sockets. They're early experiments in the primate way of life. Not our direct great-grandparents, but distant cousins on neighboring branches of the family tree. Some stay active at night, eyes adapted to dim light. Others start venturing out in the day, chasing fruit in the sun. Daytime brings better food, more color, and new threats. Living in trees demands physical skill. Living with others demands intelligence. And so, over many, many generations, primates get both. Fast forward now to a world about 23 million years ago. The climate is warm. Forests stretch across Africa, Europe, and Asia. This is sometimes called the Age of Apes. Dozens of species of large, tailless primates swing, climb, and walk through these forests. Some look a little like modern gibbons. Some like orangutans. Some like nothing we see today. Each species is an evolutionary trial run. Different shoulder joints, different teeth, different ways of moving through the canopy and across the ground. Bones, teeth, fragments of skulls and limbs. Tell us about them in whispers. One has a face that reminds us of orangutans. Another has arms perfect for swinging from branch to branch. Some of these apes will lead, eventually, toward modern gorillas, chimps, and us. Others are side roads that end in extinction. But together they show us a world where primate bodies and brains are being tuned for new environments. Then the world begins to shift again. Climate change, slow, steady, relentless, starts thinning some of those forests, especially in East Africa. Dense rainforest gives way to more open woodland, then to stretches of grassland. Food is farther apart. Shade is harder to find. Predators have more open space to see you. In this changing landscape, some primates begin to experiment with a strange way of moving. They start to spend more time on the ground and more time on 2 feet. The first hominins, the group that includes us and our closest extinct relatives, appear in this shifting African mosaic. They are still small, still very ape-like in many ways, but their skeletons show signs of something unusual. Bipedalism, walking upright. At first, it's clumsy and partial. They probably still climb trees very well, and may move on all fours when needed. But the position of the whole, where the spine meets the skull, the shape of the pelvis, and the angle of the thigh bone all hint that they are beginning to stand and walk in a way no other animal does. Why walk on two legs? There's no single neat answer. Maybe it helped to carry food. Or infants. Maybe it kept more of the body out of the direct midday sun. Maybe it let them spot danger over tall grass, or wade more easily through shallow water. Most likely, many of these advantages layered together over time. Whatever the reason, once our ancestors committed to upright walking, the rest of the body slowly followed. Spines curved into an S shape to balance the head over the hips. Hips broadened and shortened to stabilize weight. Feet developed arches, and the big toe lined up with the others to push off the ground. Hands were freed from supporting the body. They were now fully available for carrying, gesturing, and, eventually, shaping tools. Our early upright relatives didn't look human in the way we do, but they walked a little more like us than like chimps. In volcanic ash in East Africa, 3.5 million years ago, a small group of these hominins walked across damp ground. Their footprints hardened, were buried, and waited quietly for the day we would discover them. Those prints show a clear, steady stride on 2 feet, one of the earliest frozen moments of someone almost human, simply walking together across the landscape. For a long time, these early hominins belonged to genera like Australopithecus, small-bodied, long-armed, perfectly comfortable in trees, but committed to moving upright on the ground. They live in varied habitats, from wooded areas to more open grasslands. Their teeth suggest diets that include fruits, leaves, roots, seeds, maybe the occasional insect or small animal. They're flexible, and in a changing climate, flexibility is often the best survival strategy. Then, roughly 2.5 to 3 million years ago, a new kind of hominin appears in the fossil record. Brains grow a little larger. Hands look more precise. Teeth and faces start to look a bit more like ours. We call this new group Homo, the genus that will eventually produce us. One early species, Homo habilis, handyman, is found alongside something we've never seen before. Simple stone tools. Someone has struck one rock against another to create a sharp edge. Not random chips, but deliberate, repeated designs. Planning is involved. Choosing the right stone, holding it the right way, striking at the right angle. With these sharp flakes, early humans can slice meat, scrape hides, crack bones for marrow, and cut tough plants. Their diet becomes richer in calories. More energy means more fuel for growing brains. Evolution loves that kind of feedback loop. Over hundreds of thousands of years, brains expand further. By the time we reach Homo erectus, about 2 million years ago, we see bodies that look surprisingly modern. Tall, long-legged, built for distance walking and running. Homo erectus is a traveler. Fossils appear not only in Africa, but also across the Middle East, into Asia, all the way to Indonesia. Wherever they go, they bring their tools, now more sophisticated, beautifully shaped hand axes and cleavers, on two sides of a stone, symmetrical, carefully thinned and sharpened. These tools are similar across huge regions and long time spans, hinting that skills were taught and shared, passed from older individuals to younger ones. This is more than pure instinct. It's the beginning of tradition. There's another quiet revolution associated with Homo erectus. Fire. Charred bones. Hearth-like patches of ash. And heated stone. At ancient sites suggest that by about 1 to 1.5 million years ago, some groups of humans knew how to keep and use fire. Fire brings light and warmth. It keeps predators at bay. It turns tough raw food into soft, digestible meals, unlocking more calories with less chewing. Around a fire, people can gather after dark, repair tools, share food, pass on skills, and maybe tell the first simple stories in whatever proto-language they had. Cooking also gently reshapes bodies over time. Smaller jaws, shorter guts, and more energy available for the brain. Again, a loop. Better control of energy supports bigger brains, which invent better ways to control energy. All of this, tool making, long-distance travel, fire, complex social life, still happens long before our own species appears. As Homo erectus spreads and persists, different populations adapt to local conditions. In some regions, they evolve into new species. In Africa and Europe, a larger brain hominin emerges, sometimes called Homo heidelbergensis. This group hunts big animals, probably builds simple shelters, controls fire, and may even dabble in early symbolic behavior, like using pigments. From them, two important branches will arise. One branch in Europe and Western Asia becomes the Neanderthals. Shorter, powerfully built humans, adapted to cold climates. For a long time they were pictured as clumsy and primitive. But evidence paints a different image. They make sophisticated tools, use color pigments, decorate themselves, and care for injured group members. They bury their dead. They likely have language, memories, fears, jokes, and love. They are not failed humans. They are another kind of human. In Africa, another branch of Homo heidelbergensis slowly transforms into us. Homo sapiens, the earliest fossils clearly belonging to our species, are around 300,000 years old. These early Homo sapiens don't look exactly like people you'd see today, but they're recognizably modern. Flatter faces, lighter skeletons, large rounded brains. For a long time, our species lives only in Africa. Different groups spread across the continent, meeting, mixing, separating again. Rather than one tiny Eden, It's more like a web of populations, sharing genes and ideas over time. They hunt, gather plants, use stone tools, and probably already have fairly complex language. Their art and symbolism are subtle at first, but slowly grow. Around 70,000 years ago or so, some groups begin to leave Africa and move into other parts of the world. They reach the Middle East, then Europe, Asia, later Australia, and eventually the Americas. On their journeys, they encounter other humans, Neanderthals, and in Asia, a mysterious group we call Denisovans. We don't just compete with them. We also have children together. Today, people outside Africa carry a small percentage of Neanderthal DNA, and many in Asia and Oceania also carry Denisovan ancestry. Our family tree is not a straight line, but a tangled, beautiful network. Something else happens during this time. A blossoming of symbolic life. Within the last 50 or so thousand years, we start to see jewelry made from shells and teeth. Artfully carved pieces of ochre. Carefully mixed pigments. And then, suddenly, from our perspective, stunning cave paintings. On walls deep underground, people leave images of animals, hand stencils, abstract signs. These are more than decorations. They are memories and meanings, fixed in stone. For the first time, ideas can live outside the mind, lasting longer than a single lifetime. Clothing becomes more tailored, shelters more elaborate, tools more varied. People shape environments with fire, select particular plants, may even begin early forms of land management. Our species starts to rely not only on genetic inheritance, but also on cultural inheritance. Knowledge passed on through teaching, imitation, stories, rituals. From here, things accelerate. For most of human existence, we live as small, mobile hunter-gatherer bands. Flexible, intimate, deeply connected to local landscapes. Then, roughly 12,000 years ago, in several places on Earth, some groups begin to settle for longer periods. In particularly rich environments, fertile river valleys, lake shores, coastal plains. They experiment with planting seeds, tending particular patches of land, favoring plants that are easier to harvest and store. Slowly, agriculture emerges. Different regions domesticate different crops and animals. Wheat and barley here, rice there, maize elsewhere, along with sheep, goats, cows, and more. Farming creates surplus food, and surplus allows villages to grow into towns, towns into early cities. With permanent settlements come new rhythms: sowing, harvesting, storing grain, managing water. Work becomes specialized. Some people raise food. Others make tools, build structures, organize rituals, keep records. Writing appears, first as simple marks to track goods and labor, and later as stories, laws, poetry. Civilizations rise in the Fertile Crescent, along the Nile, in the Indus Valley, in China, in the Americas. Monuments, temples, pyramids, star maps and calendars, all bloom in the last tiny fraction of our evolutionary timeline. If the whole history of our species was squeezed into a single day, all of recorded history, from the first cities until now, would fit into the final few seconds before midnight. Biologically, we're almost the same as those early farmers. Culturally, we are very different. In recent centuries, change speeds up again. The printing press, the scientific revolution, industrialization, electricity, vaccines, radio, computers, spaceflight. We alter landscapes, reroute rivers, dig into the crust of the planet, and fill the skies with satellites. We live with technologies that our stone tool-using ancestors could not have imagined. Yet our bodies and nervous systems are still tuned to a much older world. Our stress responses still prepare us to face lions or sudden danger, even when the threat is just an email or a message. Our cravings for sugar and fat were once life-saving. In environments of scarcity, now they meet overflowing shelves. In many ways, we're ancient minds and bodies, living in an ultra-modern environment we've built for ourselves. Evolution hasn't stopped, but cultural change now moves much faster than genetic change. More than ever, the future of our species depends on the choices we make consciously. And that brings us back to you, lying here now. In this moment, you are the latest chapter in a very long story. Your bones, your heartbeat, the way your hands move, the way your eyes track these words, or follow the shapes in your room, all of that is shaped by billions of years of trial and error, disaster and survival, chance and adaptation. Inside your cells are atoms forged in ancient stars. In your brain are structures once used to leap between branches and read the moods of a small troop. In your emotions are echoes of campfires, shared meals, loss, cooperation, and wonder. You are not separate from evolution. You are evolution. Still happening. Still learning. As you rest here, you don't have to hold the whole story in your head. Your body already remembers it in ways far deeper than thought. All you need to do now is let the story fade into the background, like a gentle, faraway song. Feel the bed under you. Notice where your body is heavy, where it sinks into the mattress. Let your breathing be slow and soft. In and out. If stray thoughts show up, you don't have to fight them. Just let them drift past, like clouds across a quiet evening sky. From stardust to single cells, to fish, to apes, to thinkers staring at the night sky. All of that flows into you. into this single breath, this single moment of rest. You belong to the universe. That built you. You are part of its way of knowing itself. So let your eyes grow heavier. Let your mind loosen its grip. You've traveled far enough for tonight. Sleep can come now. Gently. Slowly. Like a tide rising around your feet. Rest well. Child of stars and forests and fire. Good night.